Hi everyone, this is Sabrina. Welcome back to my channel. I have a reading journal update. This is going to be for November. I am so excited to almost be done with this reading journal and just to be able to share it and have it. I know I keep saying it every month, but I love it. I'm also starting to make plans for 2023 and trying to rein in myself as far as challenges. I want to add a few more challenges, and I'm sketching out my layouts. And when I do a haul video, I got a bunch of new scrapbook goodies. I think that video is going to be Thursday. I can share the format for my reading journal. As you can see, I added a flip down for my books because I am completely out of room. And the first book of the month, Saturday Night Ghost Club, it like fell off the cut sheet and then I couldn't find it anywhere on the floor. So I'm just like, whatever, I will just move on and find it some other time. I am almost done with this second, or actually I guess it's the third bookshelf for the year, and I am just flipping back and forth so that way I can remember the books. I would say overall November was a weird reading month. It was a weird reading month. Remember I told you that I was going to continue reading spooky books? Well, the spooky books that I had left to read, because I kind of read in order of when my books are due, wound up being really weird books. Made me question, like, how did I find this book again? So they're interesting, and I'll tell you more about them as we get to them. As you saw, I put in my favorite book for the November was Canyon's Edge, and right here on the Goodreads, I needed to add a few more boxes, so I stamped those and then used a brown marker to fill in the boxes. For the A to Z, I have the Clackety that I was able to add, and then I added 10 more paper books. No Kindles, and I also had a few thrillers this month, so I think it wound up being my only thrillers, but I don't know, that can't be true. But like I said, in another video, I'm going to fix that for next year, how I keep track of genres. I had no smut books to include, which is weird, but I just had none. I'm going to double check that, and then if I need to, I will update it for December. All right, so I'm making my calendar for November, and I love adding the calendar, and I'm definitely going to keep it next year. I did say in, I think, my walkthrough video that I'm not sure if I'm going to use the calendar to do the number of pages that I read per day, or if I'm going to keep it to the days that I read the books, because I could do pages, but it's a little tedious to keep track of pages, and I don't know if I could do that consistently. So it's just taken some thinking, but I definitely do want to keep the calendar. So I am writing in the dates 1 through 30, and I'm keeping this whole color scheme very fall with reds and oranges and browns, and I am going to channel my inner Heba and color in my stamps. I'm not always the best at it, but I thought it would be really fun to try it out. I think I've tried it out maybe 1 or 2 times throughout this reading journal, so I'm going to give it another try. And I also got a Paper Person Shop stamp set to use. I think it's called Fall Fiction. It's a really amazing stamp set to document fall reading and cozy fall reading, and I love it. The shop is run by Kelly Perky, and her stamps just like fly off the shelf, as the saying goes. So I have those, and you can see I kind of placed them before I decided to stamp them. I just stamped November and then give me all the books. It's like a girl, and she has glasses and a little heart, and I'm obsessed. I love it. And I also stamped Cozy Up with a Good Book. And it didn't stamp as great as I would have wanted, but I think it's because the book is just getting so chunky and it's hard to stamp. I stamped 10 books and then also a little tiny stack of books, and I'm going to include some leaf stamps that are in the stamp set. So it's like a leaf with 2 acorns and then another one that I'm going to do orange. And then I will color in the stacks of books. One's brown, one's orange, and one is red. I also color in the girl's shirt, like an orange color, and then she's reading a book that's orange, and there's like a little like nameplate, book plate on the book, so I color that in as well. I make her hair yellow, and I'm also going to color like the outer ring that says give me all the books. I mean, I was getting really fancy with this coloring. I was going for it. I even colored in the teeny tiny circle on the outside of give me all the books. You just saw me do that with a red marker. I went for it. I was totally brave with this whole thing. So I started off finishing a book. I started the month finishing a book called Saturday Night Ghost Club, thinking it was a spooky read. It wasn't. I would say it is much more a coming of age type of story and mental health. You could probably read it in the summertime, but it is much more serious than the cover lets on. So that was interesting to start the month with that. I also, one of the books that I was like, how did I find this? Was Such Sharp Teeth. It was a weird fantasy, paranormal, trippy book. I mean, it was weird. And then another book that was kind of a fantasy book was The Other Side of Night. A Goodreads friend, Jen, Mrs. Boom Reads, she absolutely loved it, and I loved it too, but it's actually getting like not such great reviews on Goodreads, but I really liked it, so I don't know. That's never happened to me before that I know of, that I really love a book, but it's kind of tanking-ish on Goodreads. So that was interesting. And again, that book was called The Other Side of Night. So as always, I repeat the washi tape onto the stats page. The is not stamping, so I just re-stamped it. And I was able to line everything up well so that I could stamp once again. Gonna stamp the stats, and then I will stamp my boxes for the different categories. And just to share, when I was cutting everything for this project, like the little book covers, I somehow forgot to cut the book covers for this page, and I have no idea how that happened. So I'm gonna cut those, and then of course I bring them onto the page in a little bit. But I've never done that before in the entire time of making this reading journal. So that was funny to me because it never happened. So I've stamped 4 boxes, and I've also stamped my lines for the pages and the genres. Pages was 3,033, and then the genres were coming of age, thriller, gothic, fantasy, suspense, witches, and romance. One little romance. Okay, I got the book covers all cut now, and I can figure out where they go. I'm going to do rows of 4, 4, and then 2. And again, it was just a really weird month. It, started with the Saturday Night Ghost Club. That was like I said, a heavy book. It was not some cute, book about spookiness. No. And then Aurora is kind of about the world ending. And then Belladonna was a gothic novel, which I really, really enjoyed. And then I told you about Such Sharp Teeth. And then The Clackety was a middle grade book, but it was kind of weird, and it took me a while to get through it. And then The Nature of Witches, I really enjoyed that, but I feel like the author put a big environmental message kind of hidden throughout. I don't know if I was okay with that or not okay. It wasn't expected. So I don't know. It was different. And then The Canyon's Edge, my daughter recommended that. She actually said that was her favorite book, and she's going to vote on that book for the California Young Metal Reader category, middle grade, I believe, and she just loved it. So I'm going to do a favorites page for The Canyon's Edge. I think anybody and everybody could read it because it's a fantastic book about a lot of different topics. So the categories I picked was Surprised Me, 4, and then Kind of Weird, 3. Kind of Weird being the Such Sharp Teeth, and The Nature of Witches, and The Clackety. So those are the weird ones that I thought were weird. I also stamped Autumn Reading List in the bottom right corner, and I am stamping some leaves, and then I filled in my rating. I'm also going to change that for next year. That way I can do a more a more in-depth rating, maybe even by quarters, like 3.25, 3.5, that kind of thing. And that way it's not just, you know, numbers, and it's not like Goodreads. I can do it more in depth because that way I can do more statistics. So I've written in all the dates that I read these books, and I'm done. I hope you guys have enjoyed this update. I would love a thumbs up or a subscribe if you're new to my channel. Have a great day. Bye.